A pleasant good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever part of the world you may be listening from. A warm welcome to Liberia Online News Update with me, your presenter, James Karbah. The day is Wednesday, December 4, 2024. Top stories we are closely following. President Bouaka endorses 8.4 billion USD 5-year arrest agenda for inclusive development. Joseph Brissett halts landmark trial after government lawyer requests warrant of prohibitions in ex-minister tours and others case. CSO calls for immediate actions against Mohamed Abdullah's unfair labor practices in Liberia. World Bank country manager applauds Liberia's arrest agenda for inclusive developments. Leaked audio reveals late Senator Prince Johnson felt betrayed by Bouaka Kone over support for war crime court. House of Representatives accused former Speaker J. Fanati Kufa of forcefully hijacking draft budget copies. Those were the headlines. Now, the news in details. President Bouaka endorses 8.4 billion USD 5-year arrest agenda for inclusive development. President Joseph Newman Bouaka has endorsed the arrest agenda for inclusive development of 5-year, 8.4 billion United States dollars development blueprints aimed at addressing Liberia's most critical challenges and advancing equitable progress. The endorsement came during the National Steering Committee meeting held on December 3, 2024, at the Eddie Johnson Salif Ministerial Complex in Monrovia. The arrest agenda, which stands for agriculture, roads, rule of law, education, sanitation, and tourism, is designed to tackle multi-dimensions poverty while fostering sustainable growth. This is a pivotal movement for Liberia as we endorse the arrest agenda. This 5-year plan is a call to action for all Liberians and our partners to unite in transforming our nation, President Barker declared. The president emphasized the plan's focus on improving food security, healthcare, education, infrastructure, and governance while addressing environmental sustainability and private sector growth. He called for mutual accountability in resource management to ensure the effective execution of projects. The Liberian chief executive highlighted plans including flagship projects in agribusiness, tourism, and infrastructure with strong emphasis on empowering young people as driver of innovations and community development. Meanwhile, Minister Gafan presented a preliminary breakdown of the plan's funding. He said 30% will come from government resources, while 70% is expected from private sector investments, development partners, and diaspora contributions. Mr. Gafan stressed the government's commitment to fiscal sustainability, including tax reforms, effective public spending, and adherence to ECOWAS debt to GDP ratio of less than 70%. Additionally, inflation will be maintained below 10% over the 5-year period. The AAID endorsed as a collaborative framework for the government, private sector, and civil society is set to reshape Liberia's development trajectory over the next 5 years, laying the foundations for a prosperous and inclusive future. Justice Basic halts landmark trial after government's lawyer requests warrant of prohibitions in ex-minister Twist and other case. The Supreme Court of Liberia has temporarily suspended proceedings in the high-profile trial of former Finance and Development Planning Minister Samuel Tuer and others, following a request from the government lawyer for a warrant of prohibition. The directive issued by Associate Justice Yomin uh, Quick Visit came amid highlighted legal and political scrutiny surrounding the case. In a notice signed by Supreme Court Clerk Councillor Seth Momolu, the parties involved have been summoned to a conference with Justice Bassett on December 10, 2024 at 10 a.m. The notice also instructed the lower court to halt all proceeding until the conference outcome. CSO calls for immediate actions against Mohamed Abdullah's unfair labor practices in Liberia. The Movement for Injustice and Unfair Practices has called for urgent interventions by the Minister of Labor following allegations of exploitative labor practices by the Malaria Construction Corporations, a local construction company based on the Rivers Highway. The company, owned by Nigerian national Mohamed Abdullah, is accused of endangering the lives of Liberian workers by failing to provide necessary safety equipment and withholding wages for work already completed. In a strong water statement released on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024, on the signature MIU chairman, Kelvin Momolu, expressed grave concerns over the conditions on which Liberian workers are being forced to labor. The organization accuses Abdullah of treating low-cost employees as expendable, using them to carry out heavy construction work without proper protective gears and then refusing to pay them for their efforts. We have received multiple reports of all laborers working without safety equipment and worst of all, not being paid for their labor. This is a clear violation of the rights of our people, the MIU said. This company, under the leadership of Mohamed Abdullah, is engaging in unscrupulous practices that endanger lives and livelihood. World Bank country manager applauds Liberia's arrest agenda for inclusive developments at the official launch of Liberia's new national development planning, the arrest agenda for inclusive developments. George Whitted, World Bank country manager to Liberia, delivered a powerful address congratulating the Liberian government and people for their ambitious visions for the country's future. The event marked a critical milestone in President Joshua Dimambaka's visions for Liberia, economic and social transformation. The arrest agenda, which stands for agriculture, road, rule of law, education, sanitation, and tourism, aim to reverse Liberia's prolonged economic downturn by leveraging key sectors for sustainable growth. In her speech, Willie commended the strategic directions of the plan, highlighting its commitment to not just economic growth, but inclusive growth that ensures prosperity for all Liberians. The World Bank country manager noted that this plan is ambitious, where it began emphasizing that Liberia is aiming to lift per capita income by approximately 25% in just 5 years, a significant target that goes well beyond the traditional business as usual approach. Leaked audio reveals late Senator Prince Johnson felt betrayed by President Boakat over support for war crimes court. A leaked audio leaked Senator Prince Johnson felt betrayed by Boakat Kun over support for war crimes court. A leaked audio recording has surfaced, allegedly capturing the late Nima County Senator Prince Y. Johnson expressing feeling of betrayal by President Joseph Duman Barker and his political ally, Vice President Jeremiah Coon, over their support for the establishment of a war crimes court in Liberia. In the recording, the fallen senator, who was a controversial figure in Liberia politics due to his role during the Civil War, recounted events that left him disillusions with Burkhardt and Cohn. Senator Johnson, whose political influence in Nima County played a pivotal role in Liberian elections, revealed his frustrations with decisions that seemed contrary to his expectations of loyalty. When Braga came, he was deceived, and Braga is not well. He is still wanting to go after people. The voice purportedly of Senator Johnson stated. He alleged that the ruling coalition for democratic change orchestrated a resolutions in the House of Representatives concerning the War Crimes Court, which was then forwarded to the Senate. House of Representatives accuses former Speaker J. Fernandes Kofa of forcefully hijacking draft budget copies. The House of Representatives has accused former Speaker J. Fernandes Kofa of using security officers to forcefully seize 73 copies of the draft national budget intended for distributions to all 73 representatives. The alleged incident involved copies that have been handed over to the deputy chief clerk for official dissemination. The draft national budget submitted by the executive through the Ministry of Finance was formally received by the House in plenary on November 18, 2024. Following its submissions, the document was forwarded to committee rooms for review in preparation for upcoming budget hearings with government spending entities. These hearings are a critical step before the budget passage. In a statement issued by the House of Representatives Press Bureau, the body expressed grave concerns over Representatives Kofa's actions, describing them as a breach of protocol. The House has pledged to take appropriate measures to address the situations and uphold its internal progresses. This is how we love to come to a close of today's editions of Liberia Online News. Update with me, your presenter, Tana James Karbah. Do join us tomorrow at the same time for another fresh editions of Liberia Online News.